through a series of auditions and networking, you got hired to be a dancer for Beyoncé, and you toured the world with her for a year and a half in 2007, 2008, correct?
Yes, I did.
All right. So she toured the world with Beyoncé. This is when I met Heather. My wife Patty and I met Heather in Cleveland when I was working on a story about backup dancers. And at the time, you had mentioned that you wanted to do more with your career than dance. She loved being a dancer, but she wanted to be more than just a dancer.
Right.
And so Beyonce's tour ended, you went back to Hollywood, and you started taking acting lessons, right?
I did, briefly,
Talk a little about
very briefly. I stopped. I was interested, I started taking classes, and then I started doing television and movie work with Zach Woodley. I auditioned for a film and I got it as a body double. That's a lot of what dancers do. They do body double work and cheerleading. So, but I was inspired by that, and so I started taking acting classes. And then that's when, I don't know if you want to tell that, but that's when I got asked to do single lady stuff, and I worked with Beyoncé again, and it was all starting to mesh together where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, I'm not really sure, but I always dreamed of doing acting. I gave myself a certain amount of time in LA because it wasn't my passion to be there, and it's kind of a hard place to be, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was like, okay, I'm gonna act, and that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna try and I'm gonna make it my life because it's my dream. And I was shy, and so I was just like, okay, started taking acting classes, and then a month later, that was last year exactly at this time, a month later, Zach Woodley calls me, and he was like, okay, so I need you to come in and teach your single ladies dance to some of the actors.
Let me jump in on Single Ladies, just so you have a sense of what she did. When Beyoncé debuted Single Ladies, she performed the song on Saturday Night Live, the Today Show, the American Music Awards, and a handful of other very high-profile television shows or television events. When Beyoncé did that, she doesn't have a full crew of dancers behind her. She had two dancers. She had Heather and one other dancer. So if you YouTube this, you'll see a bunch of Single Ladies performances where it's Beyoncé and Heather and one other dancer.
So if I were to mess up, it would have been a big deal.
Yeah,
but I didn't.
And they would know it. So, and I think we can break this story into a couple parts and let everybody sing. So you were taking acting lessons, you were introduced to Glee, which maybe we'll come back to that point in a moment. But ultimately, Beyoncé was going on another world tour last year, and she asked Heather to be a part of it. Heather, who did not have a job on Glee yet, who didn't have any lasting job, right?
No.
So Heather,
I was taking acting classes. I was paying to take acting classes.
Yeah, so Heather is paying to take acting classes, get asked by Beyoncé, come back on tour with me. And when you do that, you get put up in the best hotels, you go to the biggest cities in the world, you get paid a pretty good amount of money, and you know that it's coming in from week to week to week. You can bank on it, or very close to bank on it, as close as you can bank on anything in Hollywood.
But even with that too, it's just the dream for dancers. People would die to...
Yeah, I mean that is the ultimate for dancers.
Yeah.
Stands for Justin Timberlake, Beyoncé, Michael Jackson until recently. Those were the dream jobs for dancers. And Beyoncé asked you to come back, and you said...
Thank you, but no thank you.
And we'll hold it right there. She said no. She turned down Beyoncé, and she
wasn't mean about it.
And she had no job. No, she was very sweet about it. But we'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll kind of leave everybody hanging with that.